Tonight's tale is about highest adventure and deadliest danger. It's about heroes and villains, treacherous traps, hideous monsters, and of course, treasure beyond imagination.
The bard voice cut through the din of the tavern as he spoke. Players laid down their cards, diners sent down their forks, and Hearth Tonebrew leaned against the bar, grinning. All eyes were drawn to the man standing before the hearth. The usual raucous laughter and friendly banter came to a halt as a hush fell over the tavern. Soon all that could be heard was the crackling of the fire and the subtle, mesmerizing melody that emerged from the bard's instrument as he played.
A group of seasoned adventurers once delved into Catacombs deep, in search of the fabled axe, Walk-Lever. These heroes trekked through miles of mineshaft and tunnels, shipped into the rock by busy kobold hands. They endured hardship, overcame dozens of deadly traps, and laid low scores on vicious monsters. But in the end, they failed, and I asked someone else to get it.
There were some wry chuckles from the audience, but the bard was quick to speak of them.
This is the story of the men they hired, an adventurer's adventurer, sleeker than a great murloc, and twice as slippery. A rogue, a fifth, a treasure-hunting vagabond, and a hero of a sort. You may know him as Marin the Fox, and if you don't, well, by the end of my tale, you will.
At the mention of Marin's name, a chorus of cheers went up. A tale about Marin was always worth the listening.
Let us set the stage. We join our hero deep in the catacombs.
Marin stepped into a large stalactite-studded chamber and found that the path ahead was slashed in half by a deep chasm. The roar of an underground river could be heard far below, and mist rose from the depths to add a ghostly cast to the clusters of glowing crystals that sprouted from the walls. Lava oozed from a boarded-up hole in the wall of the cavern, lending the cavern a ruddy glow and mingling a sulphurous stink with the sweetest scent of water. Marin idly wondered how the planks blocking the molten rock avoided burning to cinders and considered his options. Fortunately, a bridge forded the river-carved rift ahead. Unfortunately, it was a noted assemblage of fraying rope and weathered wooden boards hanging precariously over a dizzying drop. And there were no handrails, of course. It didn't look promising, but poison gases flooded the only other route Marin was aware of, and backtracking would take hours. From the look of the hastily blocked lava tube, this pass might not last much longer either. The catacombs were like that, a little different every time you returned, and Marin returned often. While the lure of riches was always enough to provoke a dungeon run on its own, this one had a special purpose. An old friend had asked Marin for help retrieving the legendary axe, Walk-Lever. He recalled Hawkheart's words from a few days ago.
The guild need an axe, and we just can't find the blasted thing. I always spend weeks searching in the catacombs, turned up nothing but kobolds and more kobolds. Everyone knows you're the best, Marin, and I need your help. So what does the fox say?
The fox says, how much does it pay? Turns out he didn't pay anything, but Hawkheart had heard a rumor that Walk-Lever was stashed with another treasure, one Marin had bid after for some time. A large chest said to contain items of particular interest. Marin had agreed, and now he was, faced with a marvel of kobold engineering. The ropes ground and the bridge danced drunkenly underfoot as Marin gingerly committed his way to the splintering wood. The chasm yawned below, distressingly visible between the wide gaps in the planks, and a breeze whistled upward from the depths to tug him this way and that. With every nerve-rattling step, he tried his best not to imagine the bridge abruptly dropping out from beneath him. As he neared the middle, a group of kobolds sprang from the tunnel entrance Marin was creeping toward. An ambush! Though, thankfully not a very effective one. The kobolds revealed themselves too early and just stood around in plain sight. Still, there were several of them, and only one Marin. Halfway across a decaying bridge that could give out at any moment, not an ideal situation. One of the kobolds was larger than the rest, which isn't saying much, and this one sported a crown with an actual lantern in place of the typical kobold candle. The miniature monarch was rather more rotten than his fellows too. No doubt there was culinary benefits to being king. The crowded kobold said something to one of his followers, then prodded it forward onto the swaying bridge. The additional weight was enough to make the fraying ropes groan in the most alarming way. Marin gritted his teeth. The small kobold wrung up its paws, puffed up his chest, and spoke.
You adventurer!
Confronted by a fully armed hero who was much larger up close, the kobold forgot his lines. At the loss, it fell back on the classics.
You know the candle!
It squeaked and scampered back to the safety of its fellows. The crowded kobold rubbed a paw across his face in exasperation.
I'll be King Togwagger.
He shouted, his voice echoing oddly in the cavernous space.
This is being my tunnels. You be dropping treasures now.
Marin harked an eyebrow. Is there a snag in your plan, your highness? You see I don't have any treasure yet. How about you let me buy and I will go get some? Then we can have a do-over on my way out. Several of the kobolds saw the wisdom in his suggestion and nodded happily, candle flames bobbing. Their king, however, was not so easily convinced. Togwaggle's eyes glittered malevolently.
If you don't be dropping, kobolds be taking.
He shrieked, fist raised.
Be summoning the column.
The audience gasped. Tavern chairs squeaked as Patron leaned forward, hanging onto the bard's every word. There was a long pause as the spell broke, and then someone asked,
Well, what happened next?
Telling stories is thirsty work, friend. Think I will be taking a short break.
The bard winked in reply. He dragged a large cauldron across the tavern floor, scrolled across the black iron in white pen were 4 words. Huza for the tipper.
Legends tell of a vast underground world, and the countless treasures that lie in store for worthy adventurers. You've signed up the best, you're on a great quest to find the mighty mother lode. There's treasure galore, but perils in store and construction that isn't up to code. Trespass with care, there's sure to be something rare. You can grab all the loot that you can handle. Such riches you'll own, but leave one thing alone.
You know take candle.
And if you steal the light, you then must take flight, eluding each hazard and each strife. It's a chaotic race as the monsters give chase, and all the while you're trying to follow the map. They're gaining on you, your options are few, and you fear that you're never gonna get home. You sought after wealth, will you lose all your health to kobolds and catacombs? It's kobolds and catacombs!
This is the story of the men they hired. An adventurer's adventurer. Sleeker than a greased murloc, and twice as slippery. A rogue, a thief, a treasure-hunting vagabond, and a hero of a sort.
You adventurer.